Hello, hello, hello. We are at the harbor. It is 5:53 p.m. and the sun is shining into the windshield, and it's a beautiful day, and there is a real gigantic yacht parked there in the harbor. Beautiful, modern, streamlined, modern architecture yacht. And looks like they got a helicopter in there as well. Very gorgeous. And I would like to go over there on that pier and say hi. Hello. Let me come in and soak in your jacuzzi and eat some fresh fruits and enjoy that yacht. But I am way too shy for that, and Paul would be very upset if I did that. So I have to stay here, but I look at the yacht and I enjoy it, and it's beautiful, and I look at the ocean sparkling in the sunbeams of love. It's beautiful, gorgeous. So yeah, the other day we went hiking with Mike, and I was so exhausted, and I felt like I didn't know what to do. So I was so exhausted from this question. What am I supposed to do? How am I gonna go on with my life? What am I gonna do next? What do I have to do next now in this situation to create my first therapy help center when Paul is against it and afraid of that and freaking out and getting angry and warning me and telling me that I will get ripped off, there will only be homeless people that will come and take advantage, and how am I going to handle those people, and I don't have a medical staff, people are going to sue me, and there are some sea lions in the water playing with each other. It's so nice. Oh, it's beautiful. Yes. Unfortunately, the water is polluted, particularly here in the harbor. It's very sad. But, I sign petitions. I do whatever I can to help to get better legislation worldwide, to do something about it, and educate people on the issues. That's basically all I can do. So, and in the meantime, I need to figure out a way to get my life together, to become independent. And I don't know how to get independent. I don't know how to do it. But I follow the paths of that what is, and the things that offer themselves, the opportunities that offer themselves, and for that I have to be on the internet. I have to communicate with people. I have to make videos. I have to interact. I want to help people, that's what I'm here for, I want to help. And I talk to everyone, including catfishers. I tell them, I tell all the catfishers about my therapy project. Some of them get mad because somehow they can't get money. They can't get me to give away my passcodes for everything. My mother's maiden name, where I'm from, all of these things, the details, that are necessary for them using my data and hacking into my accounts and so on. And they can't get that. It makes them very mad. And I said, but wait a minute, I shared with you my plans for the future. I want to create therapy upset. That is not what they wanted to hear. That's too bad, because they need therapy real bad. Okay? They're in a bad mind state, to want to rip other people off and to get money out of people. Catfishers come in all forms. There are lots of female catfishers from the Philippine Islands, obviously. I've encountered those already. I see through very quickly, and that bothers them. It's like, how is she supposed to know all of this? What the heck? And they leave me alone very quickly. But there's also male catfishers. Male catfishers that catfish maybe even with their own photos or with some other male's photos. Catfisher women that catfish with men's photos, and catfisher men that catfish with women's photos. They catfish men, obviously. So, yeah, I've seen the Philippine Island girls, and I've seen the men catfishers that catfish with men photos, trying to get me to trust them or fall in love with them and give them my bank account information. Yay! Yes. What bothers me is that the only thing that bothers me is that they get by with that they get away with that with some people. That there are some people that are indeed that naive, that will fall for this. Some people that are extremely naive and have lived under a rock all these years or something. Or, some people, some older ladies that will say, he's in love with me. This always cracks me up the most. But that's, I feel sorry for them. Boy, he would say, they deserve it. Because they're so dumb. I don't think that way. If they're that dumb, then they deserve. No, it isn't. It doesn't work that way. I feel really sorry for them. And then there are also people with Williams syndrome, and they fall for those because people with Williams syndrome are highly susceptible for something like this. They're very giving people. They have very large amygdala, very high compassion center. Okay, that is symptomatic with Williams, but it's obviously not only bound to Williams. So there's people that are with 3-digit IQs that have very extremely high, very high functioning, very enlarged amygdala. So they're standing for compassion and empathy and wanting to help and all of this, wanting to cheer someone up, wanting to make someone feel good. So, but people with Williams syndrome, they happen to have these very, very large amygdala, and just like any animal rights activist has, but they don't know about animal rights because they hang out with, they usually, I would say, it's probably very rare that a person with, that an animal rights activist has a child with Williams. Because most animal rights activists, first of all, don't have kids, and their chances of wanting kids after 40 will go to almost zero, because they're very compassionate. They don't want the kid to be disabled. They don't want to put a child into the world to suffer, and so they think about all these implications and consequences down the road, and so usually people with Williams syndrome, they come from, this probably very makes people real mad. This is very politically incorrect to say this, but it's still the truth, and people need to look at the facts and the truth and the statistics of this. So I would, from what I've seen and what makes sense also, the extrapolation of the situation is that people that are not very educated, that are not very intelligent, have a bunch of kids all the way until over 40, and most people will have a higher chance of having kids that are disabled after 40. Most people, not all. Okay, there are some rare exceptions out there. There are some aliens like myself. So, but most of them, most of them, I don't know, has to do with the DNA, of course, but they also live an extremely unhealthy lifestyle. So when people live an unhealthy lifestyle and they consume meat 4 times per day and lots of animal sludge and animal proteins and greases and stuff like this, and they don't walk, they don't move very much, so they don't drink enough water and tea. They'll drink alcohol, they'll take medication, they take drugs. So those are very unhealthy people, and so their chances of having someone that has a genetic disability, giving birth to a kid with a genetic disability, is much higher. They're much higher, at higher risk for that. So the Williams people, they come from usually from households that are not very educated. It's very sad, all of this. And then maybe sometimes I'm fumbling around here with this because I'm a little bit nervous talking about this. But all of these things are important to talk about, So I highly recommend to people not to have kids, okay, in the first place, but particularly not have kids after 40. For most people, that is. So, if someone in this yacht, or someone who is like extremely wealthy, and they have no stress at all, and they live extremely pure and healthy lifestyles, and they laugh all the time, and they have fun, and they have really good genes, and they have the possibility of going to Mars also, to escape from this planet when things get really rocky. Maybe it's a different situation, slightly different situation. Still, Dr. Benatar said that the risk of suffering is too high to have kids in general, as a general philosophical idea. And it's just a theoretical idea, basically. Theoretical thought process. Food for thought. Okay, so that's what it is. I'm glad I don't have kids. You know, the world is a mess. It really is a mess. So I made that conscious decision not to have kids. So, and I had abortions, and I don't feel regrets at all, not at all. So I'm not an antinatalist anymore, but you know, and sometimes I think about it, and I think, yeah, they wanted to come into existence, and I feel kind of sorry for that, you know. But it was very early, in an early stage, and so they were not that sentient yet, you know, more like insect larvae. So sentient, but not that sentient. So, and it's very important to have abortion clinics so that people don't try to do that themselves. Because I know a woman, my former therapist, Annalise, she said that her mother tried to abort her with knitting needles. And that left her psychologically scarred and traumatized for her entire life. She was in primal therapy. She said there was a phase during primal therapy where she woke up every morning feeling like she was beaten over her head, and she said there was a visceral memory coming up from the abortion attempt. And why? Because that was at that time when her mother, that was like 100 years ago, almost. When was she born? 1921. Okay, so yeah, 100 years ago. Oh my God, time goes by. It's amazing, you know. Annalise was born 1921. This is 100 years ago now. Whoa. So yeah, at that time it was even in Germany it was particularly, they didn't have abortion clinics, you know. So and that's that's really bad, you know, when someone tries to do that themselves and fails, and then there's a total catastrophe happening of that child growing up and being traumatized and all of this. So that's why it has to be done professionally, so that people don't have to attempt that themselves. And also, you know, on this in the same philosophical setting, I want to say, which is different subject, but goes into the same philosophical thought processes. Euthanasia is extremely important. So Holland, I don't know about Belgium, but Holland is the most advanced in these functions. They have euthanasia clinics, and the people there, they have to stay there for a week. They do interviews with them every single day to make sure that if they change their minds, they can go anytime, you know. And they also do psychological counseling with them. They try to make them feel better. They try to get them out of the depression or the decision to end their lives. But on the last day, they'll interview them again. They want to make sure that they really want to follow through. So it's done ethically and professionally. And people are allowed to do that, to make that decision for assisted dying. And for any reason. It could be crippling depression that some people never got through or out. And they said they don't want to continue like this anymore. This is infinitely heartbreaking and sad, but people should have the right to exit their life any time they want to. Dr. Benata talks about this as well. Highly controversial subjects that will completely stand in the face of the religious ego, So, but important, extremely important. Nobody should be condemned to existence when they don't want to, okay? So they don't have to murder themselves with something that ends them in a wheelchair and quadriplegic or depending on life support or on nurses and so on. So very important subjects to discuss. And I want people to make videos about this and talk about this. Make me a video response. Talk about it, You can come up with your worries and your apprehension. Talk about it, It's important to address it. Don't be afraid that I will right away come and debunk your worries and apprehensions. You need to talk about this. People should talk about this. And we should talk about this in a civilized way instead of ad hominem attacks all the time. The constant insults that people are doing. This should not, I understand emotions, but someone who brings these subjects up should not be hated. This is very important. Someone who brings these subjects up, like Dr. Benata, who has to live in hiding, can't even show his face because he's getting that many death threats. It's insane. He's a philosopher. Should be left alone, should be allowed to voice his views and write books the way he wants to write them. So, but people are religious and they identify with their religions. The angels. So, and the angels are not bound to religions. So there's the number. I saw the number 222 and that's a sign that you're on the right track, talking against religion. That's what the angels said. The angels are not religious. Okay. Paul will say, "But where do you get that angel from? Where do you get that word from? It comes from the Christian religion. So it makes you religious. You're religious. You use purple candles. You talk about the Buddha. That's religious." Well, there are a lot of religions that may have here and there picked up something from the occult, from the beyond, from the infinite, from parapsychology and so on. Obviously, but a lot of times they will misunderstand it, they will misinterpret this, they will make a religion out of it, they will make this into some kind of threat or a fear or whatever. They do lots of twisting and tweaking and misunderstanding all the time with these kind of things, with messages from beyond. Okay, so that's what they do. But when you see a triple number 222 or 333, we have that, the gas gauge 333. So that's a message from beyond, and that says we're here, we're watching over you, you're on the right track, you're doing well. So it's okay to talk against religion. It's good. What are angels? Do they look like that? What the Christian religion shows it? like? No, obviously not. Okay, so they look like seagulls. Yeah, they can come in form of seagulls. Big white seagulls. And they're running out of fish, they're running out of food. It's not good. Overfishing. So big white birds in South America, in Chile, and all the way towards the south end of South America. There are big white birds, the albatross birds. And what do they do with those? I don't even want to talk about it. It's so infinitely sad. The people, the religious people there, crucify those birds. Oh gosh. I cried for months after I saw that. And those are heavy birds. Once they land on their belly because they're so heavy. It's very difficult for them to land and to take off. Because I think they weigh over 50 pounds. So those are large birds, and when they stand up, they stand tall like a person. And then they have a huge wingspan. Those are angels. And then what do these people do? What do those religious people do? Instead of recognizing that they're angels, they crucify them. Are these people completely insane? Completely criminally insane. And that's what religion is. It gives people insanity, psychosis, schizophrenia, and criminal insanity. So there's a clear differentiation between the occult and religiousness. Occult is having a completely open mind to the beyond. But we don't get our messages from the beyond through a religious scripture. That's for sure. There may be bits and pieces in there, but they're usually completely distorted and misunderstood. Maybe the Buddhist teachings, Satipatthana Sutta, I don't know. Maybe those are still relatively true to what the Buddha wrote. But I wouldn't be surprised if people have misinterpreted those as well. And then also there are numerous translations that are happening throughout the years. Not only from language to language, or from an old religious language, Sanskrit, into modern languages. But language constantly shifts. Words can transform their meaning completely. We've seen this already. We've seen it just within the last 50 years. This has been happening. So, alright, I'm gonna wrap up the video now. So it's beautiful. This is absolutely lovely here. I really enjoy being here. So you guys take care. Bye bye.